Hello, it's your second favorite Eastern European old school RuneScape content creator who should probably stay away from all the nearby primary schools because yeah, that mustache is not doing him any favors, and today I want to talk about the newest and probably the best skilling update of 2023, the Forestry minigame. The reason why I'm saying it's probably the best is because until yesterday everything seemed all good and dandy until Jagex released an update on the minigame and some players started having their doubts. Because the buffs you get with this update, that's a little bit iffy. They seem a little bit overpowered. Firstly, how you get these buffs is by cutting down trees with your friends. Those trees also drop leaves. Then through brewing you can turn those leaves into teas, and those teas give you temporary buffs. Now some of these buffs are questionable because they offer great bonuses like increased glue drop chance. We're talking about saving, ranging and magic ammo on cast, which by the way used to be a league relic back in the day. Then we have things like boosted minigame reward points. And my first thought was, okay, let's say you're playing Pest Control and you completed hard combat achievements which would give you 8 points per game like we see here. Now, if you add the D boost on top of it, that could give you maybe up to 10 Pest Control points per a single game, which means you can get the full Void outfit in less than 3 hours. Which is crazy if you think about it. I feel like an old man saying, in my day you had to spend an entire day to get one single outfit. But okay, I also understand that some players just don't enjoy minigames, which is all good. And then finally we have some boosted Slayer points and superior monster spawn chance. Which by the way was the most controversial take. But before we get to that, how do you even make these in the first place? Good question. Well, Forestry actually was introduced in 2022 April Game Jam, which was over a year ago, and with that came one picture, which was the de-brewing interface. And this is where all your temporary buffs are gonna come from. Essentially what you do here is, like I said, you got trees, those trees drop leaves, and in this interface you're gonna combine different leaves to get certain buffs. So for instance, we have one oak leaves, then we have one new leaves, we have one willow leaves, and finally we have 2 magic leaves. And all of that combined gives us a specific buff when we brew the tea. The pluses under the interface are basically like meant as a bonus. So under duration we have 2 pluses and each of them prolong the buff for extra 30 seconds. So in our case it's 1 minute extra buff. So through combining hundreds of different options you can optimize what buff you want, and here's where the problem came in for players. You see, old school RuneScape players for the most part despise temporary buffs, especially if you have to carry those buffs around you everywhere you go. Here's an example of this exact woodcutting scenario that happened with RuneScape 3, and majority of people absolutely hated it. There is no way that golden bamboos become 1 million woodcutting experience per hour. My rate at woodcutting with the current 20% event bonuses, best in slot perks, crystal hatchets, saunas, skill set, beaver summoning, juju, rings, pulses, wood accumulators, urns, enhancers, access to all leg wisdom, band and premium bonuses, running to get world 84 scepter, coin hit, doorstall incense. I average a little bit over 260k experience with dwarvens, which is kinda skewed as my private island has only 3 spawns. No bonus experience, oh god. I just got dizzy reading this. And that's not actually everything. This is RS3 woodcutting guide by products, and these are just few of the things you can use to gain better woodcutting experience. And this is exactly what Forestry de-brewing could introduce in its current form. Now, of course, this was the worst case scenario, but the idea is still there. Temporary buffs are not welcome, because if you bring enough of these into the game, you could end up exactly like this woodcutting guide. And a lot of players agree with this. Absolutely not. We did not vote for this. This sounds abysmal, having to carry little min-max boost everywhere you go. Please do not implement this. Here's another one. Having to stack so many temporary boosts is one of the worst parts of RS3. I was hoping old school RuneScape wouldn't go the same path. There was even a really great thread a few months ago made by one of the old school RuneScape wiki admins that basically said that having a bunch of small, fun, incremental buffs can accumulate to really unfun gameplay in long term. And one alternative he said was that how about instead of having these small buffs, make the rewards permanent unlocks, but it takes you longer to unlock these buffs. One comment even mentioned that we actually already have all of these buffs in old school RuneScape through combat achievements that just got overhauled last month. So let's take a look at some hard combat achievement rewards. First of all, a 5% increased chance to receive a hard clue from all sources. Now if we go back to the bounty hunter rewards, increased clue chance from all sources. Same thing, exactly the same thing. Next up we have gain additional void points through pest control. Now we go back to Bounty Hunter, boosted minigame reward points, exactly the same thing. We have things like, a Slayer unlock will allow players to have more bosses on task. So essentially a Slayer boost. We go back to Bounty Hunter, boosted Slayer stuff. So it's basically exactly the same thing. And we already have all of those things in game, so why buff them even further? Instead, we could do something like this. Maybe there's a chance for more bird nest or an extra log with the experience, like Varrock armor. So if you don't know, Varrock armor gives you more rewards if you equip it. Maybe something like a scaled down version of a stamina potion. Or you could even add leaves into herb lore, maybe to season your foods. So the overall consensus is that players don't want to get the FOMO feeling where if you don't bring all your maximum buffs with you everywhere you go, you're gonna miss out on so much experience, which just makes you feel bad. Now, permanent buffs also have their downsides, which, we're not gonna get into that today, but there's actually like a middle ground here that we could do. So instead of having temporary few minute buffs and also permanent buffs, we could have like a buff that lasts for an hour, maybe 2 hours, and so on. The idea here is that you don't have to replenish your buffs all the freaking time, but at the same time, it still requires more leaves. Luckily, the debrewing is only sort of a secondary reward and we already have much better feedback on the other rewards, the main one being a completely new currency called Anima Infused Bark. And spending that currency can give you so many different other rewards. New outfits, upgrades to your woodcutting skill, and so much more. You can earn this new currency through forestry events, and those are gonna appear all around Killenor. But honestly, that is an entirely different topic today, which is gonna take another 15 minutes. Maybe I'll talk about it in another video, because the minigame is gonna be absolutely massive. That's the least you can expect from this. And that's why it's important to make sure you give your feedback for the beta testing, which is coming out on the 5th of June, which is few days after the upload of this video, and make sure your voice is heard. Let Jagex know what you like and you don't like. We can get the best possible minigame out there and you can go test out all of these features yourself. Also, while you're here, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out a lot, and that's really all I can ask from you. For now though, let me know what you guys think of the forestry minigame, and I'll see you all in a few days with another video. Bye! Mwah.